Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video. So this one's going to be about the third and final Avatar San Diego Comic-Con panel, the merchandise panel, the Merch Nation panel. Straight away I will say we don't know what happened in most of this panel. I have not seen any information on like 80% of what this panel was. The only info we really have is about the Magic the Gathering section of this panel, the Jazwares section, which apparently was probably meant to be most of it. We just have no clue what happened right now. I can't find anything. I did a decent amount of searching around the places and I just couldn't, at least in any way, quickly find anything new. So let me know if you've seen anything about what happened in the panel. Maybe you attended the panel. You can maybe fill me in and I can maybe do an updated video about what did happen. But right now, like half a day after the panel, I simply do not have any information about what happened except the Magic the Gathering stuff. So let's get into this and we'll go through this as best we can. We had a little bit of coverage on the Magic the Gathering side of things because Magic was the only company basically that really hyped up the panel. And I think what ended up happening probably here is that a lot of Magic fans kind of flocked to the panel for the information on Magic stuff. Meaning that I'm guessing like because there was a real rush for any like exclusive cards that were like being given away and stuff like that. Like you see the price of the Katara promo on eBay. It's pretty crazy. I'm guessing that mostly filled up the panel, meaning there was probably pretty minimal like Avatar fans there for the merch, at least ones that would cover the panel. And it was probably something like that that ended up happening. So yeah, here's what happened here. Of course, they were teasing that they were going to reveal this UA card, and here's what happened. We'll come back to this image in just a second. But yeah, the Magic part of the panel was just kind of highlighting the idea. Yeah, it's out November 21st. We've known that already. There's the main image to represent the set. I'm assuming that's going to be maybe the what's on like the booster boxes or something like that. It seems like the ideal way to do it. Yeah, then they show off the Aang card that they've already revealed, the double-sided one. We'll touch on it briefly as we go through when we talk about the UA card, but I've already talked about it, of course. Then the big reveal. This is basically the big reveal. They revealed the UA card, so it's UA the Moon Spirit, and two versions of it, basically. So the one that they were showing off was actually a fancy kind of alternate kind of art version, borderless elemental frame. So they're calling this the elemental frame. Other cards will have this in the other nations and elements and stuff like that, but this is how they're debuting it. But they also show us this is the art that's going to be on the main set version of the card. So it will be the exact same card mechanically. It'll just have this in a more standard Magic the Gathering frame where it won't be like full art. It'll just be in the art box. Both arts I think are very, very nice. I think I lean towards liking this one a little bit better just because it feels like it's closer to the show style. But both I think are actually really, really nice. So I'm glad that they gave us the reveal on that. Just to kind of highlight that, yeah, these are going to be the fancier ones, probably easier to get out of the collector's edition boosters. There might be a chance you can pull this in the play boosters because it's not that all alternate arts are only in the collector boosters. There's usually some that you can get from the main stuff, but we will see. There's a slightly closer look, but we have the full image. I'll show you later. Otherwise, they basically just went like, hey, there's a little bit of a teaser, but the main look at the set is going to be coming up in just a few weeks. August 12th, 2025 is going to be the first look. Interesting here, you have the kind of boy in the iceberg background here. You can see Aang is just there. So I'm wondering, is this going to be like a land? Is this maybe a fancy like island or something like that for the set? Or is it going to be like a legendary land to represent the kind of boy in the iceberg? Will be interesting to see what they do overall. And then, yeah, they also teased that Braving the Elements is going to be a part of the reveal in some way. Stay tuned during the first look, August 12th, for a special segment on the Magic the Gathering Cross Avatar partnership. So, I'm guessing, because they're doing a live stream, I'm guessing Janet Varney and Dante Bosco from the podcast are going to be there to reveal some of the cards. And I'm guessing they'll probably kind of cross-post this in a way like where like I guess the official like YouTube channel, which is kind of Braving the Elements kind of theme, will have videos on this. Because it seems like they're really going in on this. They really are going to promote this. Avatar is going to promote this because it's such a notable collab. interesting, and that's, I think, the right way to do it, to get across the set to Avatar fans, which I think is why they're promoting this kind of so relatively early. I know Magic fans feel like it's absolute chaos at the moment because Edge of Eternities is kind of what they're promoting right now. That set's like on the verge of just about to come out, but they've just teased the Spider-Man set, and now they're starting to tease the Avatar set. It just feels like they're doing everything at once. But I think you have to acknowledge that for the IP-based sets, they are of course going to do a little bit more marketing, early promotion of those sets, because they know they're going to sell to a completely new audience that they kind of won't have otherwise. Avatar fans will come in for the Avatar set, despite otherwise not being maybe overly interested in Magic the Gathering. Same for Spider-Man. It was the same for Final Fantasy. That's why you're seeing like teases, first looks overall. It's not that we're in the full-on spoiler season, I think, for like this many sets at the same time. It's just that they're doing the kind of bare minimum early marketing to show off some of these cards to people, so they know what to expect from Avatar Magic the Gathering by having a really nice looking kind of UA card like that, of course. But yeah, we'll get into the card analysis in just a second. I do want to kind of highlight this. I'll open this up separately here. This is the only insight we have into anything else. This is right at the start of the panel. They showed the kind of slideshow stuff. So they obviously had like some Avatar stuff, highlighting some of the people there. And then you can see here, there's a little bit of merch stuff going on here. So they teased some sort of company doing, I guess, some sort of a Momo thing. This is the first 4 figures Katara figure that was just recently announced, gone up for pre-order. This is the Nendoroid Zuko, which again was properly revealed in pictures like this only a few weeks ago. Then they get into the Magic the Gathering side of things, which are the slides that I just went through here. But you can see that there are 49 slides, and we basically only went up to like slide like 13 or 14. So there is like a whole 75-ish% of the panel that we didn't see. That probably is a lot of the Jazwares stuff. Now, even if they only went over the stuff that like we know, like they're doing plushes, they're doing a gimmick action figure line, they're doing a collector's action figure line, they're doing figures, kind of minifigures, and then blind box minifigures, we still don't really know what the full extent of the lineup is. Now, interestingly, for anyone especially in America, people are starting to find some of the Jazwares stuff in Target, I believe, specifically. They're finding these 2 figures. These are the gimmick figures. Because Aang has some sort of a spinning action and Zuko has some sort of a kick action. So they're finding these and some of the other kind of more minifigure style things. I don't think anyone has found the collector's line yet, from what I've seen. But this is obviously the one that I think people most want to find out about, because I'm assuming they showed off more pictures of both of these, in addition to the Katara that I think is part of the Wave 1. So we don't really know what the lineup is. And like the official Jazwares stuff, they've not posted anything about this, which is weird because it's a brand new line coming out. You'd think they'd post a little bit more about it. And that's the thing. It's like I have no problem whatsoever with someone going to this panel just for the Magic the Gathering stuff and ignoring the Avatar stuff. That's completely fine, because it shouldn't ever be on fans alone to say what happened at these panels. The companies should be, if it's a promo kind of news panel, put the information out there. That's why you're doing the panel in the first place. It's not just the 100-200 people in the room that you're trying to speak to, it's everyone else. So that's the kind of frustrating, I think, part of this, is that they clearly went over some stuff here, but we just don't know. Like, again, I've not seen anything about non-Magic stuff at this panel except this one image. How is that a thing in 2025 for like a big toy line? It's not just like random company doing Avatar merch. Jazwares has an entire Avatar toy line that they're not talking about, basically. It's kind of weird. But anyway, we'll move on here. So, yeah. Magic, of course, did immediately post the image of the picture full on so we can see it. Interestingly, they didn't post the, like, art from the kind of standard version of the card, but, you know, it is what it is. So, like I said, this is the borderless elemental frame. This is UA the Moon Spirit, 3 and a blue for a 3/3 legendary creature spirit ally. So they're the tags for UA. She's a spirit and ally. So that is the same as what's on the Katara card that we've seen, the promo for Comic-Con, and the Aang card. They all have ally on them. Now, interestingly, they're all kind of like part of the kind of like allied nations against the Fire Nation. So like, is that what they're going for here? Like, as in, we won't really see Fire Nation characters with ally except maybe like a Zuko, perhaps, or something like that. It will be interesting to kind of follow that. I doubt every card in the set has it, of course, but how far it goes in the sense of like, I doubt like every single Water Tribe character will have it, every single Earth Kingdom character will have it, but they'll want to keep it a thing just so it's a theme throughout the set. So cool that they gave it to Moon Spirit, of course. Flying and vigilance as just keywords. So of course flying gives you kind of like a certain amount of like battle, evasion, and protection, and then vigilance of course means that like when you attack you don't have to tap. So like it's you can attack and then immediately block is sort of the dynamic there, which makes sense. It's an all-powerful spirit basically. It's not going to be exhausted by attacking, so that makes sense. Then we have the effect, which we don't know exactly what this is because we don't know what waterbend means, but it says waterbend for 5 cost and tap. You may cast a non-creature spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. So, if you do this, so the tapping is no problem. Okay, fine. It has vigilance if you're doing combat and stuff like that with it, but the effect will tap. Waterbend 5, whatever it is, we don't know what it is something that you will have to achieve somehow. We don't really know what it is. If it was just 5 tap, that feels like, is that even that great? Because like, how many spells do you have that cost more than 5? So you actually get value on casting it without paying its mana cost because you're paying 5 for it anyway. So my assumption just based on that is if this is like Waterbend 5, as in that is 5 mana, I'm assuming Waterbend is a way to bring that cost down by doing waterbending in some way. And the reason I'm emphasizing the difference between waterbend and waterbending is because of what's written on the Aang card. You can see here, his effect is flying, and then he also has firebending 2. It's not firebend 2, and the 2 is in kind of the little bubble. It's just firebending 2, as in, when you do firebending, the effect, whatever way it works, like when Aang attacks, he will do 2 damage to something, or when he attacks he will get 2 power or something. It's not really about like mana or paying a cost. It's just whatever the firebending effect is, you get the 2 version of it. But then his other effect is interesting because it words it as whenever you waterbend, whenever you earthbend, whenever you firebend. So clearly the idea is Aang triggers his own effect with his firebending. So firebending 2 goes off, meaning you have done an act of firebend, drawing you a card in this case. So is that kind of what they're going for here? So if we go back to the UA, the idea is UA has waterbend 5, but other characters will have waterbending 1, 2, 3 theoretically, and that will do something. But potentially waterbend is something that happens when an act of waterbending happens. So the idea maybe is that in this case it's perhaps the cost comes down based on how much waterbending you've done. So if you have a Katara card and it has waterbending 2, you get the effect of whatever waterbending does, but for the waterbend effect it will lower it by 2 in this case, meaning this effect is actually pay 3 and tap because it's been lowered by another card. That might be a way to do it, but that also seems maybe perhaps a little bit complicated, that they're really going to make an emphasis between like waterbending and then effects being waterbend. And I get it, it's sort of the idea of effectively triggers, kind of like the Aang card is kind of doing, of just like cards will have stuff when it says whenever you waterbend. But you'd almost think that the card would just straight up be worded that way, where it's like, you know, based on the amount of waterbending done this turn, lower the cost of this card by this. Maybe that's what waterbending water bend when it's kind of fully written out means. Because of course this is a fancy version of the card, any sort of reminder text is taken off it, so we just don't know what it is. Still, it's interesting because it makes sense, I think, thematically. The idea of an all-powerful kind of spirit here, the moon spirit, allows you to just get this almost kind of like miracle thing of like you play something for free by having some sort of a waterbending effect happening where like she's facilitating other waterbenders doing something else through her own effect. That's kind of cool. But yeah, that's the UA card. So you can see the other stuff here is that this is a rare. So you can see it down there. This is a rare. The Aang was a mythic rare, of course. So this is 338. Aang is 363. Both of these are alternate arts. So it means that, like, at the very least, there's like 30-something crazy alternate arts going between this one all the way up to the Aang. But I'm assuming there's probably quite a few more. Neither of these are part of like the main set cards, so it means there's probably at least 200 and something main set cards. We'll find that out at a later point, but still, cool to know kind of what's going on there. I will just bring in the other card just so we're kind of talking about it all here. Katara the Fearless. This is the promo. Again, I think it will be available in the main set as well. So yeah, Katara the Fearless. It's green, white, blue. So they are keeping the blue as like water bending, but you know, they're going to have to spread it out across the other elements. Like, I don't think there was any way every single waterbender character was only going to be blue. But yeah, she has ally, human warrior. Her one's more about like ally kind of like triggers and stuff like that. I believe the way the rulings work in Magic is that the UA card, this is an activated ability. It's not a trigger. So Katara wouldn't make this go off twice, I think. So that's fine. I think she would make stuff like Aang go off again, I think. But either way, the idea is that there will be cards to work with this Katara. She will facilitate, I guess, the other Team Avatar members doing stuff, which is quite interesting to see. But yeah, I think the big questions we have, I suppose, about the set kind of after this point is sort of just like, okay, yeah, a lot of the characters are going to have to be, for the sake of like Commander and stuff like that, multicolor. But like, are we going to see like waterbending cards that maybe don't include blue, just to spread it out that way? Or is it always going to be done like this, where like all waterbending cards will always have blue, but yeah, we can have white blue, we can have green blue, and the triple color stuff as well. That'll be interesting to see. But yeah, like I said, kind of going back here, they are placing a lot of importance on the stream on August 12th. So I'll definitely cover this when it happens. It's actually going to be, I think, super cool. I think at the very least from the what they said on the website, they're going to be showing us, I think, a version of like each Team Avatar member. So we're probably going to get the basics. I assume we will come out of the stream knowing what all the 4 bending disciplines as effects do. So we probably will be able to understand the UA card a little bit better after this. But yeah, it's super exciting. I'm so hyped for this as primarily an Avatar channel, but I'm really into trading card games and I know Magic the Gathering like reasonably well. So this is like the merchandise kind of thing of the year for me in terms of Avatar. So I'm all in on this like 100%. So I'm super excited there. But yeah, the unfortunate thing is like I'm also into the merch in terms of like action figures. I wanted to know what happened in terms of what Jazwares was showing off. Like they could have shown off like their Wave 2 stuff. Like we could have maybe had our first look at like Toph, Azula in figure form, but like I just don't know what they did or didn't show off. It's kind of frustrating. Only other thing I want to mention is this. So we're continuing to gradually get more and more video footage of the first Avatar panel, the 20th anniversary panel, where of course they revealed stuff about Avatar 7 Havens, the new series. So here is actually what Mike and Brian said when 7 Havens was announced. I hadn't seen this until relatively recently here. So let's just play this.
So this is the next Avatar after Korra.
So you can see that they do confirm once again, Avatar after Korra. Any doubts about that, they're making it pretty clear. It's the next Avatar.
Puppy.
Puppy?
This is her cat monkey, Geet. Voiced by the wonderful D. Bradley Baker.
That wasn't something I initially heard, that they did confirm that D. Bradley Baker is back to voice the animal in this case, which makes sense. Like, he's the voice of Appa and so on, so it would make sense that he would come back for that.
And her mentor friend Jay in the background, who's an airbender.
So there's that. I was wondering, like, did they actually say he was an airbender here, or do we just know that from leaks? But they did actually say Jay is an airbender, so that's good.
This is the city where they live, called Alora.
And then we were also wondering about that. What is the kind of pronunciation on that? And it definitely, to me, that reads as like Elora, which I think is what we heard before. It could still be like Alora more, but I think what the leaks were saying is E-L-O or A. We'll see what the pronunciation is, so that's that.
And I don't know if we can tell you too much beyond that. Those are the main characters.
Jeremy's doing the music, and it's...
So yeah, Jeremy Zuckerman is doing the music on this show, so that's good to know. I don't think that was really in doubt, just because he's been so attached still to Avatar all these years. So I think he was always kind of a lock to do all of this, but still it's cool to know.
Something totally different for the Avatar world.
And then they're kind of teasing that, like, okay, it's something very different there. So that's good to know. And that's just nice. Because, like, some of the reporting sometimes can maybe leave out some of the other details, but it's actually good to know specific quotes, what they actually said. So that, like, oh yeah, they did actually say the name of all the characters and the place name. It's just a cool little thing there. So that's nice to know. But yeah, I wish I had more to talk about in this video. But yeah, the communication and reporting on this panel was not great. This might be one of the first times ever we've just maybe, like, not known what a huge chunk of a somewhat big panel. Like we've had times before where, like, you know, it's been like a random Avatar Legacy fan panel before where we really haven't had much sense for what happened, but maybe there wasn't really any news. But the fact that there is actually a toy line that's being, like, announced, detailed properly for the first time, and we just don't know about it, is kind of crazy to me. And again, it is more on Jazwares and the Avatar official accounts for not posting about it, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, in the comments, let me know what your thoughts were on everything here. I suppose mostly the Avatar Magic the Gathering thing. What are your thoughts on the UA card here? The art, the effect. What do you think Waterbend 5 does? And how do you think bending is going to work in the set? Everyone has their own thoughts on it. I don't think anyone knows with supreme confidence what they're doing, but it's cool to speculate about. So let me know what you think in the comments below, but that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.